In this video, I'll be showing you how to solve a cantilever beam with a point load at its end. This is going to be our problem statement. We have a cantilever beam with node A and node B and a point load of P acting at the node B. The length of this beam is going to be L. Now, when we are talking about solving a beam or this cantilever beam in particular, we'll be going for these four parameters for solutions. So first we'll be trying to assess the degree of indeterminacy. Then we'll be trying to find out the reactions. Then we'll be going for the shear forces and hence trying to find the shear force diagram. And similarly, we'll be trying to find the bending moment first and then the bending moment diagrams. So all in all, these are the four parameters which we'll be solving in this video. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Hello and welcome to the Civil Black Box YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, do consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Also, I have a free ebook for you to download, which will show you the step-by-step method of starting your own structural consultancy business. The link to that book is in the description below. Go ahead and download it right now. With that said, let's move on with the video. So let's solve our cantilever beam for these four parameters one by one. The first one of which is the degree of indeterminacy. Now, I've already made a video talking about the difference between a statically determinate and an indeterminate structure. You can go and check it out right now. So let's start with the degree of indeterminacy. Now, I've already shown you the basic differences between a determinate and an indeterminate structure. And I've also shown you that the degree of indeterminacy, which is also known as the structural redundancy, is ultimately the unknown forces inside a structure minus the equations of static equilibrium. Now, in this case of a cantilever beam, we have one fixed support. This support will be giving us two unknowns. So there will be a reaction at this end and there will be a reaction of moments in this end. So ultimately, this unknown forces turns out to be reactions. And in this case, the reactions is going to be 2 in number. I've already shown you that when it comes to beams, the force system is going to be a coplanar parallel force system. What that means is that if we have our X and Y axis, something like this, the forces will be acting only in this plane, hence coplanar. And also it will be acting only in one direction, that is in the Y direction, and hence parallel. So in this scenario, there will only be two equations of static equilibrium. One will be for sigma Fy equals 0 and one will be for sigma Mz equals 0. So hence we get this value as 2 as well. So all in all, we are getting a value of 2 minus 2, which brings us to the solution of 0. So all in all, the degree of indeterminacy in this case is 0, which means that this structure is going to be statically determinate, which ultimately means that we can solve this structure or analyze this structure completely by only using the equations of statical equilibrium. And that is what we'll do in this video. So with the degree of indeterminacy solved for, let's move on to solving reactions. Now, in order to solve for the reactions, what we'll do is first of all, try to assess the free body diagram. And I'll just tell you what the free body diagram is. And then next we'll be going for the equations of equilibrium. So firstly, the free body diagram, as the name sounds, this is a free and a body diagram. So when you have, say, a cantilever in this case, if we try to remove the support and bring it out as a free body, that is going to be called a free body diagram. Now, what we ultimately do is, for example, in this case, we have a load acting on it. We can remove this support and replace it by certain forces which will be acting on it. And now if I just see this structure as opposed to this, we can see that this is only composed of forces and no supports. Hence, it is in a way free. However, it is going to be in equilibrium. So all in all, whenever we are solving for reactions, and in fact, whenever we'll be solving for internal forces as well, we'll be looking for these two components all the time. So first we have to free our body of any supports, thereby making it a free body diagram. And then we'll be assessing those forces by equating it with the equations of equilibrium. That is, the structure is not moving in general and hence it is in equilibrium. So with a free body diagram and the equilibrium at our hand, we can easily solve for the reactions. So let's do that right now. So we have this structure again with a node of A at this end, B at this end, a load and the length of L. Let's try and first of all change it to a free body. So what we'll try to do is remove this and replace it by reactions. So this is what happens. So we get a reaction force in the y direction and a moment in the z direction. So this is going to be our axis system, and x in this direction, y in this direction. Whenever we are talking about moments, the moments are going to be in this plane, that is the mxy plane, which I've already shown you will be called mz using the right hand thumb rule. So once we are done with the free body, let's move on to the equations of equilibrium. Now there will be two equations of equilibrium in case of a beam, because it is again a coplanar parallel force system. If you do not understand what that means, go check out my previous video on the difference between determinate and indeterminate structures. So this is going to be our two equations. What these equations essentially mean is that any body, for example, if we have this beam and we have certain forces acting on it, this body is, or the summation of all the forces in the y direction, that is in this direction, is going to be 0. What that means is this body is not moving up or down. In essence, that is what it means. Now we have not taken x because we are assuming the forces only in this direction and no components in this direction, and hence only this is the force which is happening. And thereby, by knowing that this is a structure and this is a stable structure, this is not moving, and hence in equilibrium. Once in equilibrium, it cannot move up and down. So once it cannot move up and down, all the forces or all the summation of forces in the direction of y will be 0. If it is not 0, what that means is this will not be a stable structure. Similarly, the structure should not be moving or rotating in the z direction. That means it cannot be rotating along any point. So it should not be rotating something like this, or it should not be rotating along. So this is the beam. It should not be rotating at some point around this. So all in all, it should not be rotating. That's it. If it is not rotating, that means it's a stable structure. And in this case, we have only these two equations to solve for, because sigma fx is not required as there is no component in the x direction. We'll be solving the problem with respect to these two parameters. Let's start off by first using the equation of Fy equals 0. So whenever we are solving for any forces or summation of any forces, we have to assume our direction conventions. So in this case, I have assumed that all the forces pointing upwards or in the positive y direction is going to be a positive force. So let's try and see this free body diagram and let's assess which forces are acting on it. So the first force which we see is the Ra, which is acting upwards, hence it is a positive force. There is no other force on this beam except this P, which is acting downwards, and hence it's a negative force. If I try to solve for this equation now, what I can do is simply on the left hand side, I have plus Ra, which is going upwards, and a downward P. So these are all the forces which we have, and this should equate to 0. If we solve this, we get P equals Ra. So this is what we ultimately end up with. Ra becomes P. So this Ra is equal to P, and if it is, this structure will not be moving up and down. So this is what we get. So let's replace this Ra with P as we have done and move on to solving for this Ma. When we are solving for the Ma, again we have to assess our conventions. So in this case, I have assumed that all the anti-clockwise forces, that is the positive mz forces, are going to be positive. So this Ma, if it is an anti-clockwise moment, it is going to be positive. It was a clockwise moment, it would be negative. Now, just to reiterate my point, this mz could be about any point, and we'll see about that. In this case, let's start off with a point, say at about A. So this structure should not be moving essentially about either this point, this point, this point, or any point on this entire plane. Let's solve for it. Again, with the mz solution, we can see that the anti-clockwise moments are going to be positive. Let's move from left to right. So the first moment which we see is Ma. This is going to be positive because it is an anti-clockwise moment. So let's put in plus Ma. Now this P being exactly at this line is not going to be putting any force on it. So if we were to try to put it, we'll get P into a lever arm, which is going to be 0. Let's check this P out. Now this P has a lever arm of L. However, the lever arm direction is this direction, and hence this is the clockwise direction. Therefore, I'll be getting a minus P into the lever arm, which is going to be L. These are all the moments which are acting. If I try to solve it, this should equate to 0. So let's solve it now. So Ma, this becomes 0. this becomes minus PL equals 0, MA becomes PL. So this is what we get. Ultimately, MA becomes PL. So let's replace this MA now. MA being PL and being a positive PL means that whatever direction we had assumed was correct. Instead, if we had assumed the other direction, the values would have been a bit different, would have got a negative value, which would have again told us to reverse this direction. So all in all, what we assumed was correct as per the direction sense. Let's replace that with PL now. So we have ultimately found out both of our reactions using the equations of equilibrium. Next up, we'll be taking a look at the shear force diagram and the bending moment together. So in this case, we'll be solving these two together. And in this case, you have to understand that whenever we are talking about shear forces and the bending moments, we are ultimately talking about the internal forces. So we are going to be solving internal forces, and in order to solve for internal forces, we have to go inside the body. And hence, in this case, although we are looking at a free body diagram, this is going to be an internal free body diagram. That is, we'll be cutting our body at some point and trying to expose the internal forces. Again, we'll be using the equations of equilibrium, because if I have a beam, for example, and say this was a cantilever beam, in the initial calculations, we have seen that this body should not be moving up and down, or it should not be rotating. Similarly, any part of the body should also not be moving up and down and rotating. And hence, if I cut this section out, there will be some internal forces inside this and some external forces, whatever they are. Even though this is a cut portion and a free body diagram, this structure is also not moving, and hence it is also governed by the equations of equilibrium. So this is what we will do in most of the cases whenever we are trying to solve for any structure. So let's do that. So we have this structure right here. In order to get inside, let's cut a section somewhere. Now this is going to be at a distance of X. This is a convention. You could have started from this side. In this case, it's much easier to solve from the right side. So if I cut this section now, I get a beam, a shorter beam with, say, a value of X, which is exactly this. And there will be some internal forces at this point. So these internal forces can now be termed as Rx and Mx, because yet again, being a coplanar parallel force system, there will be only two kinds of forces that will be developed. So one will be the Rx, which is pointing upwards, and one is the moment, which again is similar to these. Had there been any different direction forces, there would have been an additional force of Hx. So in this case, we are working with these two, and let's solve for this. So whenever we are trying to solve for a shear force diagram or a bending moment diagram, we are ultimately trying to solve for the shear forces at a section and a bending moment at the section. So if we find it at, say, a value of X, we can use that formula to plot the graph. And that is exactly what we'll do. So when we are trying to solve for the shear force, the first thing which we'll be doing is solving for Fy equals 0. Again, this portion or this entire beam is not going upwards or downwards, because just like the entire structure, this part of the structure is also stable. So let's solve for this. Again, we'll use a simple concept. Upward is positive, and hence we can see we have a positive Rx value, which is moving upwards, and a negative P value, which is moving downwards. And hence we get this is equal to 0, and hence Rx becomes P. So this is what we get. Rx becomes P. Now at X equals to 0, you can see that there is no interrelation between Rx and the value of X. And hence, even at X equals to 0, the Rx will be P. At L equals to 0, Rx will be P. Now, another convention when it comes to a shear force is that all the forces moving upwards are taken as positive, all the forces downwards are taken as negative. And this is the convention which we'll be using in the shear force diagram as well. So whenever we are trying to solve for the shear forces, first we'll try to solve for the equation, and then we'll be trying to plot a few points so that it's much easier to plot it on the graph. In this case, it's very easy, as you can see. So let's plot it. So we have the starting point at A and the ending point at B. We know that the shear force in this case is not correlated with X, that is Rx value was simply P. There is no interrelation with X, and hence it is going to be a constant. So from the left, you can see the value starts at P, so it moves up. It's going to be constant throughout, and then it moves down. So this is going to be a shear force diagram. Very simple. And if you try to find out the value at any point, you can use the value or cut the section at any point, and you can get the shear force. And hence it is called a shear force diagram, because using just this diagram, you can find the internal forces at any point. And hence you have completely analyzed the structure. Let's move on to finding our bending moments. The concepts remain the same. Now in this case, instead of solving for this Rx, which was the shear force, we'll be solving for this Mx, which will be the bending moment inside a structure. So at any point X, we'll find Mx, and ultimately we'll again plot a graph and we'll know the bending moments inside the structure at all points. So just like we solve Rx for finding the shear force, let's find Mx for finding the bending moments. Again, we'll be using the same concept, that is the entire free body is not moving up and down and it's not rotating. Similarly, if the body is stable, a part of the body is also not rotating and moving up and down. So again, we'll be using the equation of static equilibrium. In this case, we'll be using the equation of mz equals 0. Let's solve for it. The conventions remain the same. Anti-clockwise becomes positive and the clockwise is negative. So instead of finding it at this point this time, let's find it at some other point. Let's say this one, that is B. So we'll move from left to right. So we have this mx, which is positive because it is an anti-clockwise moment. Then we have a force Rx with a lever arm of X. And this time you can see this is again a clockwise direction and hence negative. So we have a minus Rx multiplied by X. Now this P is acting at exactly that point and hence its component is 0. So we have P into 0. This entire thing is 0. Mx becomes Rx into X. And we have already solved for Rx, which was P. And hence M becomes Px. So this is what we get. So this is what we end up getting, Mx as P multiplied by X. Now for X equals to 0, that is if we change this X to 0, we get a value of M at 0 equals 0. Now this is the value at point B. So this is the point at which X will be 0. And if I change this X to the entire length, we move to a point A. So at X equals to L, ML will become PL. This is the point A. We can also find a value at somewhere in the middle. So if we wanted to find a value at X equals L by 2, we could simply replace this X by L by 2 and we'll get a value at L by 2 being P into L by 2. So you can see it's very easy. And by just knowing the fact that it is directly proportional to X, or that Mx is directly proportional to X, we can see this is going to be a linear graph. So with these values at our hand, let's try and plot the diagram of the bending moment. So again, we have the starting point and the ending point as A and B. Let's try to solve for the bending moment. We know that Mx is going to be directly proportional to X. That is, it is going to be linear diagram. We also know that at X equals to 0, that is a point at B, the value is 0. And at point L, which is a value at A, the value is P. So this is going to be linear diagram starting from 0, going up to P, somewhere around here. And it is going to be a linear diagram. So let's try and plot it. It will be very simple. It will go something like this and it will move down. We have a value of PL at a point A and a value of 0 at the point B. So this is going to be our bending moment diagram. Now, if I wanted to find anything in between, we can simply get this graph out and find the values. So that being said, we have ultimately solved for all the 4 parameters. We have solved for the degree of indeterminacy, which came out to be 0, thereby showing that this was a statically determinate structure. And we could have easily solved it using the equations of equilibrium, which we eventually did. We found the reactions using the equations of equilibrium as well as the free body diagram. And then we ended up solving the shear force and bending moment diagrams using, again, the free body, but this time cutting a section and hence exposing the internal free body. Also, we found the diagrams for those as well. So all in all, we have found the reactions and we have found the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram, thereby giving us values at every section inside. And hence we can assume this structure to be completely analyzed. If you like the video, do not forget to hit that like button. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And once again, if you haven't already downloaded my free ebook on how to start your own structural consultancy business using a simple 12-step formula, do so now. The link to that book is in the description below. Thank you for watching and check out the other videos on this channel right now.